So let's jump into this. I want us to really dig into this partnership piece, implementation, acquisition and implementation. So we are challenged with developing partnerships amidst everything that is going on here. So my poverty number has increased. So from when this slide was made, but I do want to take time to note some of the challenges we're facing. Unemployment is extremely high. Black and brown communities have been impacted by COVID-19. Um, you have the Black Lives Matter movement, the social unrest that is the backdrop of all the work that we're doing. And it's just a very interesting time in politics too. So I did want to take a moment for people to react to this slide, to talk about what's happening in your space, and particularly how challenging it is to create these partnerships, to stand up these new programs during during the times that we're in. Does anyone want to chat about it? Take a few minutes. We'll take 2 and 3 minutes to take a couple of comments um, about what's going on in the spaces you're in.
Shonique, it's Letitia. Initially when I was looking at this slide and you said like take it in, I was like, oh yeah, it's just, the stuff that's going on. But then when I really dialed in, there's so many emotions happening here where you have this like message of hope, united will never be divided, but then you have disparity on the other left hand corner. And so I think it's for me it kind of um stood out as being just contradictory. I don't know if it's the right word, but just a multitude of emotions that are just juxtaposed together.
Yeah, so thank you, Letitia. When I take a look at this slide, I really say in the context of our work, we we still have to serve people, right? With all of this going on, with all the emotions that we are personally managing, what we still have to help people. And when I think about the high number of unemployment, I think about our participants being further and further in the back of that line, and why it's so important for us to create opportunities for them. So I wanted to start off with this and really have people to let people know that we understand, we know that these are challenging times, and we are here to help. So what are the learning objectives today, right? We are going to define partnerships in the context of our work. We are going to understand what partnerships are needed to do this work. Who do you need as a partner to meet your goals, your programmatic goals? We're going to catalog the partnerships, the art of engaging, the art of engagement, and how do we form industry advisory boards. So I'm hoping that each of you walk away with having a deeper understanding of how this work gets done. So let's move on. What is a partnership? Hmm. Anybody have a definition for me? Any ideas? Right? Am I going to have to call on people? Let's
I
see.
would say two or more individuals with a common goal.
Nice. Thank you, Ephraim. Yes. Anyone
I,
else?
yeah, I would add, building on what he said, I would add uh, several people or organizations working together collaboratively to achieve that
Yes.
certain goal.
Nice. Thank you, Nathan. Anyone else? Do we want to add to that?
Building
Gina,
relationships.
thank you, Shanithia. Yes, building relationships. Gina, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, I was kind of going to say like a symbiotic relationship working towards that common goal.
So I think all of the answers are correct. It's all a piece of the partnership space. But for the context of the work that we're going to do, we're going to go with this definition here. Okay. A partnership is a relationship between two or more entities that provide an exchange of goods, deeds, and ideas. It's an understanding that all parties give and all parties get something they want or need out of the relationship. I'm sorry, go back. It is mutually beneficial. Can we agree on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Are we all comfortable with this?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So, what partnerships do you need? Let's talk. This is open discussion now. What partnerships do you need to reach your goals? No one institution is an island into itself. No one person can do this work alone. What partnerships do you think you need to get the work done? Put it in the chat. Let's talk about it. Anybody? Chris, Kevin, Donnell, Rosalind.
For me, that would depend on exactly what your grant benefits are. Moving from 3A to 5Y, our grant is a little bit different in terms of supportive services. So I'm looking to build partnerships that can sort of fill that gap because we don't have the funds to provide some of the support that we have before.
So tell me about those gaps. Let's be specific. What is it? A gap in transportation? Is it a gap in food security? So let's get real specific here. What partnerships do you need to do this work? What partner in your community could complement this work? Go ahead, I'm listening.
Specifically, some of the gaps that we have now are under the current grant. We can pay for transportation, we can pay for clothing, we can pay for work supplies they might need, we can pay for license restoration fees, birth certificates, a wide range of different supportive services. Under the current grant that's coming out in January, we're not going to have as much funds to cover those services. So for me, it's partnering with agencies like CareerLink, potentially community legal services, and other places that can kind of fill in those gaps that we can't directly supply anyone.
Excellent, thank you, yes.
Well, and first of all, we need to have, this is Donnell, everybody. We need to build partnerships with our participants, right? Because if without them, there is no other partnerships. So they are the foremost partner in our program.
I think our partnerships are based on what our participants need, because it differentiates between participants. Some people might need housing, and then we'll have a partnership with a place. We have CRAM, we have different other places that we can send them to get qualified housing, drug-free housing. And then also we have places where if they need rides, we can go with the CAT bus, which is the bus system. We can offer free bus passes, which is another partnership that we have. And then we also have partnerships as far as if they need food, rental assistance, things like that. We have partnerships with Christian Churches United that we utilize them and things like that. So those are what we do at Tri-County OIC.
So we agree that we all need partnerships, right?
Yes.
And I think that they could be a training partner, food banks and pantries, to name a few, mental health providers, community colleges, right? Employers. You need local coalitions, shelters and transitional housing. You need COBs that serve similar populations. You need transportation providers. You need alternate high schools, and you need correctional facilities, right? I think the menu is ever ending when you're really talking about creating this net of services for participants. You need to really think about who in the community is doing the work and how do I connect with them? Can we all agree on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Know thyself and know thy partner. Identify who does what on your list of needs. So you have all these needs. You know the organizations, or you may not know the organizations or institutions or other partners that do some of the work. Get to know them, right? Research who's who in your prospect list. Use tools that you have to get what you want. And I'm going to let Naja talk more about this.
Okay. So right now, let's just talk about where we can find partners, how we can use social media and other traditional media, and also just word of mouth and any other thing that you can do to connect with partners that you may need to help with your program. First off, who does what on your list of needs? You did talk about that already. Okay. So let's just go a little further. Who does what on your list of needs? How do we find the people that we need to partner with? Does anybody have any suggestions on where we need to find the people that we partner with other than the yellow pages, which I don't even think we have yellow pages anymore. But how do you find people when you're looking for them? Come on, everybody. What do you do when you're looking for somebody? I know everybody has done this before. What do you say? You do what? You Google it, right?
We Google.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Come on, guys. We
Yeah.
Google. Yes.
You Google it. So, but there's some other ways that you can find people. Most recently, we have been trying to expand on our social media. It took us a while because we've always been a little bit more traditional, but we have a new world now. Our programs are changing, the world is changing, and just like now we're doing this conference or training virtually, it looks like that may be a way that we may be going for years to come. So it's very important for us to know how to navigate the World Wide Web. Other than Google, can you please give me an example of where you can find Mr. James Haynes? Does everyone know who James Haynes is even? Don't everybody speak at once.
Yeah.
So one of the things I would ask you to do, can everyone grab their phone and go to their LinkedIn? We're about to do a little work. Get your phones out and go to pull up your LinkedIn.
And if you don't have a LinkedIn page, you're probably going to have to make one because they don't allow you to connect with anyone if you don't have a page yourself. It's supposed to be mutually beneficial as far as your connection.
So find James Haynes. And can someone tell me, where did he go to college?
Well, first, how many of you already have a LinkedIn page?
That's a
Can you
good
put it in
question.
your comments or in the chat?
Yeah, put it in the chat.
If you have one, just say yes. If you have a LinkedIn page, just put a yes in your chat.
How's the chat looking, ladies?
That's
Chat is
awesome. It
looking
looks
good.
great. Yes.
Got a lot of yeses to the LinkedIn page.
All
Got a lot
right.
of great ideas for partners.
So please log on to your LinkedIn and find Mr. James Haynes, President of OIC of America. One of the things I like about LinkedIn and what most professionals like about LinkedIn, it eliminates a lot of the fluff that you may see on other social media sites. You won't get a lot of opinions about your cat or your dog or what you ate for breakfast. Every once in a while you may see it, but it's mostly professional connections, and you can get a lot of great information when it comes to your career or your profession, or even just what's going on in the world professionally. Did everyone find Mr. Haynes? And if you did, you can put in your chat or just holler out, what kind of things did you find out about him from his LinkedIn page? And like Shonique said, what college did he attend? Anyone?
Anyone? What's the chat looking like?
I think everyone's still looking. We still have all of the yeses. Oh, okay, great. Someone said they have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. Okay, Christina, you're connected.
Chris said he's opening one. All of them, Chris, or just LinkedIn page?
So one of the things that I would ask you to do on James Haynes' LinkedIn page is connect with him.
Now, the difference between LinkedIn and Google, just so you know, I would always do both when it comes to connecting with partners. LinkedIn is created by you. So you won't find anything negative unless something's a little wrong up here. You won't find anything negative on a page that you made about yourself at all. You won't find anything that anybody doesn't want you to know about the business or anything like that. So if you're looking to partner with someone and you want to just dig a little bit deeper into, their slogans, their mission, their vision, their other partners, what they've done in the past, you should still Google, because that gives you a little bit more information about the organization. So you should do both.
Now, the first affiliate to connect with James Haynes, your team will get lunch on OIC. So OIC of America. I assist with managing James Haynes' LinkedIn page. So the first team member from one of our affiliates that connects with James Haynes will get, their team will get lunch on OIC of America. So let's connect.
Well, so Ryan said Western Kentucky University. Kevin said Western Kentucky University.
Nice. Very nice.
And Donnell said a few James Haynes. So you want to find the James Haynes from OIC of America.
Okay. So while we're working on that, Naja, you want to go to the next part of partnership is engaging. Engage, connect, communicate, share. We just did an example of how you connect with someone, right? And there's alternate ways, but for this purpose, we're going to move to, we're just going to talk about how we connected with on the LinkedIn. You want to talk about hashtags next, Naja? Does anyone have any questions so far?
Does everyone know what a hashtag is? If you know what a hashtag is, put yes in the chat, please. A hashtag looks like a little tic-tac-toe board on your icon, on your phone or on your computer. I'll just give you just a basic way I love to use hashtags. A hashtag can be used in LinkedIn, IG. They can be used on Facebook. Most social media sites, I think all use hashtags. I use them to find things. So one of the things about hashtags that are very helpful is your name, date. So say, for instance, if I want to create a hashtag about myself, it could be Naja 2020. Dates make a difference. Keywords, Naja, African American, queen, mother. So keywords matter. Location, it could be hashtag Naja Philly. That's how people who, if they want to find someone from Philly named Naja, or what I do in Philadelphia, you can find it that way as well. And then whatever your services is. So I can say Naja Marketing, hashtag Naja Marketing. So I use hashtags all the time to find everything. If I want to find a food place, if I'm in New York, I'll hashtag New York food. And then everyone who's ever hashtagged New York food, you'll find all kinds of places to eat, information on New York and dive food spots, any kind of food you want. So when you are creative with your hashtag, there's a way that you can pull your hashtags up, and everyone that's ever used your hashtag, everything comes up at one time. So for instance, OIC of America, if you want to look us up, we just started using the hashtag not that long ago, maybe the last year or so. If you hashtag OIC of America, you'll find our events, maybe some of our programs, maybe just some of our staff members, community members, just anything connected with OIC of America that we hashtag. That's how you can find us. If you do OIC of South Florida, you can probably do the same thing. So what we'd like to do today is to have you create a hashtag for SOAR. So remember, and put it in your chat, please. Remember, You can use the name, you can use dates with the hashtag, you can use keywords, locations, services, anything that you think people can look up to find the SOAR program.
And while you're doing that, Holly, do you want to mention your comment in the chat about the string searches?
Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. Oh, wow.
Good
Lots of-
morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so I learned a really useful tool in my last job. I used to have to do a lot of researching, a lot of reporting, and in order to do that, especially when creating like I'm trying to think like industry work modules, I used to have to do Boolean string searches. They're really good when I also use them on like career sites. So you would put in, like, if you're looking for technician, HVAC, you would do HVAC, asterisk technician, asterisk service, or in caps service. And you would, when we talk about fluff and we talk about a more streamlined search, literally Boolean strings cut out all the extra stuff and gives you exactly what you're looking for. So if you're looking,
Holly, could you put that in the chat?
She did.
And if you want to know how to do a correct Boolean string search, you can Google it. So super easy.
Cool.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes.
All right. So
Okay,
we're gonna.
I have SOAR 5252020. Is that a zip code?
SOAR 5 2020.
Oh, that's 5/20/20. Oh, okay. That's the date. Cool. And then we have SOAR Tri-County. No one else has any creative hashtags for SOAR? Anyone?
You guys got any hashtags? SOAR 5.
Watch SOAR. That
Love
was
it.
good, Kaya.
I love that. Okay, so I think just to wrap this up is that understanding that social media platforms is a good tool to research your partners or folks doing similar work. Let's move on here.
I like Watch Me Soar. That's kind of good.
Yeah,
That was
that's really
cool.
good.
Yes.
And of course, connect with us on IG and Facebook at OIC of America. Okay. So we're gonna move to the art of engagement. The first thing that we're gonna do is identify. So we talked already about identifying the needs to operate your program, what partners you need to make your program successful, right? Research, social media, look at distributions lists, ensure alignment, prepare. I think that's the most important thing. You're going to prepare to engage, right? Any questions, let me know or put it in the chat.
Shonique, can you expand on the ensure alignment piece?
Oh, certainly. So so alignment, I think it's important that you align your what you're doing, the mission of your organization, the values of your organizations with other organizations you are attempting to connect with, right? Make sure that the connection doesn't exist. One example is making sure that the connection doesn't exist within your institution. Oftentimes you find that your CEO may have a relationship with this partner. Find out what are the connections. But also when you think about alignment, I want you to think about make sure that your work is the core values of your work are aligned, making sure that you're not working with institutions that do not support the work that you're doing. Let me give an example of it. An example of it is, or an example of alignment. So you may want to partner with an alternative school if you are serving youth who have backgrounds and you need to enroll. The alignment there is that they're receiving, they have a built-in population that are receiving educational services. You have resources that are specifically for those individuals who have backgrounds. So there's clear alignment. You want to make sure that you guys have common goals. Like if the goal is to place folks into employment, right? What does that look like for that partner? And then there's things where you're just not aligned at all, right? It may be an employer who don't believe in second chances. It may be a partner who is, for example, doesn't want to participate or run an organization that prevent participants from voting. So I think you just want to make sure that you're aligned with the organization is aligned with the work that you're doing. Was that clear? Was that clear for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was helpful. So in other words, you're saying like the vetting, somewhat of a vetting process to make sure that it's a good fit. I think it's important, especially with today's age, when we talk about technology and the internet, go see if you can dig up some dirt. And if you can't dig up some dirt, then that's a good sign. But if you find something really easy, then you might want to rethink what that partnership looks like or addressing that issue head on.
And that's why the research is so important. You really want to look into the work that these folks have done and not, to be honest, over the Black Lives Matter movement has really pushed folks to become more inclusive. And we want to, but you may want to look back further than that. What changes have they made, right? I'll give you a good institution, a good example. We recently rolled out a national partnership with a voting engagement organization called Headcount. Well, when you look at Headcount's organizational structure, there are no people of color at the leadership level. Now, when you look at their front line, their boots on the ground institution workers, everyone on the ground look like the folks that we serve. And in meeting with them, one of the things that we offered was to possibly position our president to sit on the board, right? And to be that advisor on inclusion. So I think that when in your research, you seek to see where there are intersections. And sometimes if there's not, it's okay. It's okay to walk away, but the research should provide you information so that you can make an informed decision about the partner. We're going to move to engagement, and I'm just going to move some stuff around on my screen so you can see the bottom of it, right? Connect with the person. So you've identified the organizations that you want to work with. You've done the research around the organization. Excuse me. You've prepared for the meeting or to connect with them, and now you're actually going to connect. What does that look like? Can someone talk about how have you connected with institutions and or people in the past? Was it through an email? Was it through a formal letter? Did you pick up a phone call? Did you connect with them on LinkedIn? Let's talk about how some connections have been made in the past.
I can go.
Oh, I was sorry. Go ahead, Holly.
Oh, hello. I just know that the temperature of the world overall since COVID has changed business operations and the way that we engage just typically across the board. So it's important to, like you said, have that preparedness piece and make sure that you are representing your company, and you have to be creative and figure out a way to do that either virtually or over the phone. And if you were just an email person before, now you have to incorporate so many other methods of communication.
Certainly.
We do a lot of cold calling.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a lot of previously existing connects and rapport with businesses that I've worked with, professionally. So I guess I kind of have that one up. Those people know me. They know my work ethic. They know, how I would align myself. And now that I'm new at OIC, that obviously I would only be affiliated with something that I believe in. They know I have a lot of conviction, so they're happy and receiving when, you know, they get me on the phone. But there are those cold callers. I mean, those people receiving my cold calls who are just like, what do you need from me? So, you know, you have to be prepared. You have to make sure that you are sharing the information as clearly as you can in the short amount of time. Make sure that you are mentioning all of the benefits of your proposition so that you're enticing them, you're giving them something to chew on. And then I always follow up with an email. And then I give them just a link for OIC and a little bit of brief history. So it's not too overwhelming, but so that they know, like, okay, you can digest this a little bit. And then I always follow up maybe 3 days later or so. And then I feel like we've kind of established a rapport. They know I'm not some weird telemarketer, and, you know, I take it from there.
Yeah. So Holly, I love that example and the process of it, right? So when you think about you think about connecting and what it looks like, and really having those clear communications and expectations, being prepared, but also you're bringing something to the table, which I think that can't be overstated. When we're talking about our programs and the services that we offer our participants, we are selling a product. We are saying that we are preparing participants for that employer. We are preparing participants for the training, right? You're not coming with your hat in your hand. You are coming with real services. You're coming with a network of affiliates behind you, and you're coming from an organization with a history of doing this work. So when I say be prepared and understanding of the research that you've done on an organization, but also be prepared, to your point, Holly, to talk about the organization that you represent, right? And leverage that contract that you got from the Department of Labor. Talk about how the national office or your institution has continued to work with these federal organizations to get funding to the local level. Communicate the benefits and long-term share purpose, right? Why is it mutually beneficial for us to work together, right? So this in conversation, this connection it's albeit brief, it should, like, you should really have this as a concise pitch. Again, I say pull the inner salesperson out and talk about the long-term shared purpose and the benefits of you guys working together. And you said, Holly, that I really appreciate creative, be flexible, right? So coming to an institution and saying, hey, I want to co-enroll your participants because I need to meet these outcomes, it's not going to cut it anymore. You have to say, okay, I have these training dollars, right? And you have this built-in population. Let's get these kids across the stage with a high school diploma and an IRC, right? Or if you're working with a shelter or transitional housing and you need to help place them in jobs. Okay, let me send my employment specialist over there once a week to work with your population. And then it becomes more attractive. Now that people are feeling like they're getting something, that you're giving them something. And we want to get to yes. We want to, and so in that, you have to be creative. And particularly in this time, right? It doesn't look like the same marketing approach or partnership development approach. You're not coming over with brochures. You're not meeting people. There's not this series of meeting. You have like one time to make a good impression. Your first impression should be a good impression. And you want to make sure it's concise. You want to make sure it's creative. You want the person to feel like they're walking away with something, because you already know what you need out of the relationship, but you want to be very clear on what you're bringing to the table and expectations. Any questions about this?
I have a question.
No, I have something to add. Oh, go ahead.
Who has a question? Holly?
No, go ahead, Holly. I can go after you.
Oh, I have a question. In regards to engagement, I just started winging it. Like, I just put the landing gear down. I was new here, and I mean, nobody really, you know what I mean? I come from a very regimental, structured environment. So I come from an operations background. I was like, all right, man, where the templates at? Where's the email? Where's the script? I didn't have it. So I just was, bits and pieces and kind of, forged my own, if you will. So sure. I wanted to know are there templates to tweak? Do you guys have a recommended, script? Is there, what does that look like? Is it just, I don't mind it now because I feel very comfortable in the way that I engage now. But when I came here, I was in panic mode, to be quite honest with you. And I didn't really truly feel prepared, but I obviously wanted to be effective within my program. So I kind of just made up my own. So I didn't know if there was something that kind of was pre-existing. Do you guys have anything like that?
Sure.
We do.
Go ahead, Naja.
Well, in the past, we created brochures for every affiliate for SOAR, and one was for partners and one was for participants. But now with COVID and everything changing, we just had a meeting with the program team, and we're thinking about, or actually we're working on coming up with some templates also for you for social media, in addition to some digital pamphlets, so that you can just shoot them over instead of printing them out and distributing them that way. So we are trying to figure out different ways that we can help you with recruitment. We definitely will be doing brochures. We're just now working on changing the way that we strategically recruit, because the boots on the ground may not be something that will work for right now. So we have to figure out a way to give you the tools that you need, in a way that you're going to be able to reach people in this climate. So we are working on that. Did you receive? You should have received a form. If you didn't, I know someone from the programming team will send it over, and that way we'll collect your information and start working on some marketing material for you.
Yeah, I did see some media kits. They're fantastic. I meant more of just on a personal engagement via emails with a lot of our business partners.
I do have some. So Holly, that's a great point. So I do have scripts, some standard stuff that when I'm sending out to a partner, it's the same language. I mean, it starts off introducing who we are, what we do, where we think we can intersect, and let's talk, let's set up some time to talk, right? So although we don't have physical boots on the ground, we have virtual boots on the ground. And I tell you now, we can, this pandemic and us going virtual is a curse and a blessing, right? And again, in terms of serving our participants, there is some, our secret sauce, if you will. I'm going to quote Newton on this one, is that we can touch and feel. Like our participants can walk throughout the door and see a person, right? Talk to a person face to face. And not all institutions operate that way. Right. But virtually, you can meet a partner who's 3 hours away from you, right? That may have something that you can use in your program. So I do have some. You're asking for a script on what that looks like. So I will put together a toolkit for you guys and send it over, because I have some standard forms, some standard language I use, right? You may want a public statement, as an example, that, hey, OIC South Florida, OIC Rocky Mount, SOAR 4 or 5, whatever the project is, this is what we do, this is who we are. Please create time to meet with me. So I do have some standard information that I will share with the team following this meeting.
Awesome, thank you. I'd love to share mine too, and if you have any critiques, just let me know if it's appropriate. I mean, I've used a lot of the very similar language, just kind of explaining briefly what we are and what our mission and our passion is in the community. It's been working. So maybe, like we said, if we're giving OIC a facelift and kind of bringing us into this century, in regards to the way that we interface virtually, maybe that can be a thing that we do too,
So that's an excellent point. I would ask the program team if we could convene a group who will want to work on this, because I think, Holly, just based on this conversation, you have some real insight on what you've been using, what's been working, and we can just, as a network, put something together and say, hey, this is how we do engagement in this virtual world, right? We're clear on what boots on the ground look like and what our paper and hard collateral looks like, but you should be able to right now push a button and send someone a digital brochure about who you are and what you do. right? Like, so I am all for that. And I do think it's a collection of what works, right? Some people have been operating, still having their doors operating on a staggered schedule. I think there's no wrong answer to this approach. I think that we can use everything and folks can just pull out what's best for their space, their environment.
Correct. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Sure.
Did anyone have any other questions while we're here at engagement? I know this is always a big thing. So the next thing is like, let's paper this thing, right? So people get really nervous when you talk about let's like putting stuff in writing, but you want to show, again, I always say, show how it communicate the benefit. So the first thing that can look like a support letter, a letter of intent, a MOU, all forms that we have that are standard, a MOU, a partnership agreement, right? Whatever folks feel comfortable with. I know when operating the program, I was very uncomfortable signing anything that had too much legal jargon in it. I didn't want to get caught up in it. So maybe it's very brief. We agree, part of MOU, or just a one pager saying, hey, this is what I bring to the table. Or we have a form that you check off, like X organization provide these services, shelter, food, so and so, and we support the work of OIC South Florida as an example, SOAR project from January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021. And annually, we update those forms. The benefit of that is that in contrary, we will support them too. So when there's opportunities and people want to know your landscape or your spectrum of partners, you can say, hey, I have 50, 100, 20 partners, formalized partnerships. And it just gives more value and validity to the work that you're doing. So always, I think that is the goal, is to paper it, to get it down and say, and it will outlast you. So if you leave the organization, here's a whole folder, a file with all of our partners. Sounds good? Uh-oh, I'm gonna go back. All right, oh, I'm trying to go back. I just want to go back, guys, pardon me.
I just posted a question in the chat. I'm just curious to know if anyone is a member of any professional organization. Those are really, really good for networking. And they also have resources that you can use to reach out to partners. So I'm just wondering, is anyone maybe a member of the Chamber of Commerce or any workforce development boards or? Hello?
So respond to that. All right, so they're saying yes. You can put that in the chat. I just want to wrap up, engage this piece of the training. So continue to engage. This is so important, people. You've connected with your folks, you've done your research, you've identified who you need, you've got it in writing, and then the person doesn't hear from you until June, right? So here are some practical examples to engage. Host planning meetings, be intentional about it. Quarterly have meetings. We're going to check in every 3 months to talk about, is the partnership working? What else can they bring to a partnership? You don't know. Maybe a partner recently received a big grant where they have to disseminate PPE kits. They have to disseminate 5,000 PPE kits. You're serving 300 or 400 young people or participants. You could be a part of that blessing, if you will, right? Continue to use your social media, platforms to support them, and in return have them support you. Invite them to annual events, albeit virtual. Ask them to come in. Use your website to inform, right? So you want to say, hey, Shonique, we just spotlighted a participant. Go to our website, send the link so that you're driving folks to your website. spotlight the partnership. If you have any a newsletter, if you on your social media, spotlight the partnership, raise the visibility of the work that you guys are doing collectively, and do a press release. The more attention you bring to the work that you're doing, the more exposed you are, the more elevated the position of the institution is. All right. So now, I'm sorry, y'all. So now we're going to talk about, now let me just move this for you guys. Any questions? So we're going to catalog these partnerships for the purpose of this training. And we're going to have, the first one is our service base or stakeholders. Those are your training partners, your transportation partners, transitional housing, your healthcare. It is a partner that's referring and or providing a service. This list is should abbreviate list. Then you're going to have your employer partners, whoever they are. You want to put these partnerships in buckets, and I will tell you why shortly. Then you have your community-based organization and public institution, your nonprofits, because you're going to take all these partnerships, you're going to turn them into relationships, and then you're going to ask them to become your industry advisory boards. So relationships become partnerships. The whole engagement, the strategy for engagement is to build a relationship with someone in the institution, then turn that relationship into the partnership. And then you're going to turn the partnership into advisory boards where appropriate. And the advisory board is just a commitment of folks around a certain sector of your work to advise you, expand your capacity and reach, and offer practical solutions to challenges that you're facing in this space. So when Naja, you talk about the Chamber of Commerce, that may be a great person to have on one of your work industry boards. And it should be consistent with the trainings that you are offering. And it may inform you that you may need to change some of the trainings that you're offering because they're just not relevant. So relationships turn into partnerships. That's the goal. And we're going to take some of those partnerships and have them as advisory boards. So having them catalog helps us get to our end goal.
And even with the advisory board, sometimes it's a good idea to have your participants as a part of it. Who better to tell you if it's working, if it's not working, if you're helping them to break down these barriers, if you need to add something or take something away. Sometimes people neglect to put the people who they're serving on these advisory boards. And if you want to have an equitable advisory board, you want to include the people that you serve. So you may not be able to have them at every single meeting, but you should always have the invitation out for them to be a part of it.
And guys, last but definitely not least, I want you to understand that by building a partnership, we help others help themselves, and they enable all races and backgrounds become productive, more fulfilled members of society, and ultimately we make the world a better place. So that is the power of a partnership. It is mission-centered for OIC of America and its affiliates, and it is consistent with our values. The work you're doing, you have a network of OICs around you. And here, Holly, when you talk about the research, you can really, in engagement, you're talking about not one institution, but 31 other institutions that support this work. So I am stopping here. We are at time under an hour, and I'm going to open this up for questions. Any questions? So I have a question. Can someone tell me about a new partnership they've brought on this year? Or a partnership that they're launching January 1? Anybody?
I know some of you have them already.
Any partnerships that you're launching for your new program that's new to the organization? Let me see, someone I haven't. Marvin, how are you today?
I am well. What about yourself?
I'm fantastic. Can you tell us about any partnerships that you have that are new to the institution this year?
All of our partnerships are the same ones that we have from last year.
Mhm.
We're working on a couple new ones, but no one has gave us a commitment yet. We actually have an industry advisory board meeting tomorrow.
Great. And can you just talk about who's a part of that board?
So we have the local we call them RC3. That's the drug prevention, AANA. We have the housing authority there. We have a lot of our partnerships with our employment. We have I want to say at least 6 or 7 different employment agencies will be there tomorrow. We have someone from the Justice Department that'll be there. We have a couple people from the probation department that'll be there as well.
So this advisory board is specific to your SOAR project, your project.
Yes.
So I want to be super clear. Your organizations or your organization, your president, your COOs, they may be a part of they may have advisory boards for the institution, but I think it's important that you create advisory boards for your program specifically. So that may come, some of that engagement may come at your senior leadership level when you talk about when you talk about your needs, your CEO may be able to connect you with an organization that you want to be a part of your advisory board. So they are specifically working on the things that you, the goals that you have to meet.
Shonique added in district attorneys.
Nice. Yeah. So everyone should be partnered with their career links, workforce investment boards, one-stops.
Christina, do you want to speak on what you wrote in the chat? Okay, I'll read it. It says partner with South Central Workforce Investment Board, Reentry and Youth Program.
Oh yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we actually what happened was I discovered that our South Central Workforce Board had just started a reentry youth initiative. So I kind of try to partner with them so that we wouldn't be doubling, since that we're going to after the same participants in the same area, so that we wouldn't be doubling services. So one thing we did was we kind of joined forces together so that we would be able to work together with them.
Christine, can we just stay right here for one moment? Can you talk about that conversation? How are you? So what I hear you saying is that you're co-enrolling participants?
Yeah.
Yes. And what services are they providing that you are not?
They will be able to provide housing. They would also be able to pay for some of the training. And when we say high-end in training, they would be able to pay for the CDL training courses that they would be able to pay for, as well as partnership. And what they really liked was the fact that we were using the LSEMI, which they do not have the intense case management part. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're going to partner with them as well to provide that intense case management. And we're going to dual enroll their participants to be able to receive those services as well. So that was one of the things that they really liked, the fact that they did not have that. And they didn't know where to go with this. They just got a grant just like we did, and they don't know how to engage that particular age. What we did was we kind of said, well, hey, we have some kind of data that we have from SOAR 2, and we can kind of work together and things that we can provide. So they can't provide incentives. So we're going to create a program. We create a referral system, and we kind of incentivize in areas in which they weren't able to incentivize as well. And they offer mentorship, and they currently have people on their staff who are formerly incarcerated that works with the youth that we would not be able to offer that expertise as well as we were able to work with them.
Yeah. So the great thing, I love that they offer mentorship, right? And so here's a perfect example. Now you're able to document that your participant is receiving mentorship, right? Is in a mentoring program. And Christina, that's an example, a great example of how you got to yes, right? You have, I think the LSCMI goes a long way in this space. People respect the assessment, but a lot of folks don't. A lot of folks may not have the funds to utilize it, but that is a great example of getting to yes. Both parties walk away happy, both parties give, and both parties get. Good. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, so YARP down here in South Florida, we just partner with Broward Community College. And so all of they have a couple of different programs, sub-programs that are brewing within the college. One of the new ones being rapid credentialing, which is a really, really dope program. So they just started out, and basically what they're doing is offering in really hot industries, competitive job certifications. So we are using those rapid credentializations to get people from A to B very quickly. So it will help us with our turnover, especially in regards to like the YARP population 18 through 24. So it's something that will keep them engaged long enough where they're not going to lose interest, but also they get to exit that program with credentials that will be recognized within the respective industries that we want them to be hired in. College also offers apprenticeships. So upon exiting, they'll have apprenticeships. They have employment services through the college. They, similar to, I'm sorry, last speaker, she was saying that they do an intake. So when we partner with them, we kind of streamline their intake as well. So they're going to honor all of the intake that we use for our YARP program when we do the recruitment. So essentially we're providing them recruitment service into the rapid credentialing, and they're providing all of these other kind of subliminal incentives as well. They also, once they're in it, they get the same amenities and the same access to all of the Broward students that are enrolled into the program. So there are, so the same way we have our own community partners with like healthcare vouchers and stuff like that, they have like emergency funds programs, they assist with rent. So they have case management team. There's a bunch of different things on their end that they kind of, paired up when they coupled with us to be able to offer a lot of our participants once they're in it.
Great, nice. That's an excellent example of getting and giving. So, you got to yes. Great job, Holly. Well, it sounds like you guys are doing some amazing work. You will hear from me shortly. I am going to invite folks to convene around putting together toolkits. Don't forget to use your the ability to bond participants with your employers. For those of you who are employer specialists, use those tools. Those are the tools that are in the employers toolkits. Talk about the cost savings that we're offering by training folks specifically for those jobs that are available. Just use your tools to get to yes. Again, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for participating in what has been a wonderfully led virtual conference from our participants. Please give me a very high score on the feedback so I can get a raise this year. I'm interested in that. No. But this is partnerships are important. Always, anytime, please feel free to reach out to me. for anything, for market, Naja and I work closely together. Even if it's just to strategize, let's work together to get some stuff done.